Hallo und willkommen zurück zu Sherlock Holmes. Wir haben jetzt das letzte Mal festgestellt, dass dieser Herr nicht durch Herzinfarkt gestorben ist, sondern wirklich ermordet wurde. Und jetzt müssen wir ein bisschen Input sammeln über den, damit wir ein klareres Bild über das Opfer haben. Okay, wow, da haben wir ein bisschen was zu fragen. Leergeräumtes Kolonialhaus.
Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
Most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
Aha. Verhältnis zu Dun.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression, great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
Ach, wie nett, haben wir uns aber alle lieb. Dunnes Lebensstil.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say? He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That and...
And?
He had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
Okay, Albert Dune.
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was?
Oh, yes. He forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
Das ist ja auch mega fies. Tödliche Pflanzen.
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Margaret White.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
Wir wissen alle wieso. Schlüssel.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before. And now all of a sudden he is trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Die sind alle so untereinander ein bisschen neidisch. Und fangen echt an, sich gegenseitig zu kritisieren. Oder können sich zumindest gegenseitig untereinander überhaupt nicht leiden. Bis auf diese Miss White. Aber da... Naja. Miss White.
Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today.
She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
Oh, okay. Leergeräumtes
We noticed
Kolonialhaus.
that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah. At the moment, I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
Verhältnis zu ihrem Vater.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path. I have to manage Kew Gardens. And I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Da wäre ich mir nicht so sicher. Martin Hamish.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the deputy director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed? Well, that is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Die haben sich wirklich alle nicht lieb.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Hat er uns jetzt die Schlüssel gegeben oder nicht? Alberts Ambitionen, Vergiftung. Okay. Vergiftung, tödliche Pflanzen gestohlen. Dunn wurde vergiftet, nachdem Montague Dunn in Kolonialhaus eingeschlossen war, inhalierte er ein tödliches Gift. Okay. Weitere Schlussfolgerungen kann ich wohl noch nicht schließen, aber dann würde ich doch mal gerne Miss White kennenlernen. Sie soll im Saathaus sein. Jetzt ist nur die Frage, wo das ist. Saathaus. Wo bin ich? Ich bin da. Ich muss einmal da durch. Ich muss einmal da hinten durch und dann bin ich schon am Saathaus. Wenn ich das jetzt richtig verstanden habe. Das müsste Miss White sein.
Look, Holmes, this charming lady must be Miss White. She's entering the seed house.
Alles klar. Dann wollen wir uns diese junge Dame doch mal etwas genauer ansehen.
Open.
Good day to you, miss. You have some very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir. And good day to you, too. But...
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
Das kannst du aber laut sagen, aber ich finde sie jetzt im Gegensatz zu dieser anderen Miss vom vorherigen Fall, fand ich die andere hübscher, auch wenn die ein blaues Auge geschlagen bekommen hatte. Sieht fast so aus, als hätte sie einen Ausschlag an der Hand. Unverheiratet. Das war alles. Wow, okay. Diebstahl von Pflanzen.
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh, yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
Der Vorfall.
Oh, it's quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss, after the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Der war wahrscheinlich nur zu den Frauen nett. Oh, jetzt habe ich auch ein paar mehr Fragen. Leergeräumtes
Would you happen
Kolonialhaus.
to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
Arbeiten Sie hier?
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn. That is how I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see. It is a great honor.
Verhältnis zum Direktor.
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
He was a master, a great leader. I saw him almost as a spiritual father.
He had an exceptional nature?
Oh, yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic and very nice to me. Although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
Wie sind Sie hereingekommen?
Most of the doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys. He agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him. It is only temporary.
Ah, okay, verstehe. Sie hat also einen eigenen Schlüssel für
The
hier.
Divine Syndicate. Does that name mean anything to you, by any chance?
Not at all. But it is a very pretty name.
Thank you,
Naja,
miss. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So, someone is lying. It is obvious.
gut, was habe ich jetzt noch zu tun? Ah, das... Ein Marmorstück vom Boden des Kanals in Form... Ein abgebrochenes Stück einer Büste oder Skulptur. Ah, das muss ich auch noch gucken gehen. Dann schaue ich mich doch mal etwas weiter um. Ich habe ja noch ein paar andere Gebäude hier. Ist jetzt nur die Frage, ich glaube, es war nur... Ich glaube, es war doch nur das vorne abgeschlossen, oder? Wenn das jetzt hier hinten offen ist. Aber vielleicht finde ich hier hinten die Büste oder so, wo das abgebrochen ist.
A protective mark.
Okay.
Someone set it alight, but it did not burn.
Habe ich mir das nicht schon mal
A
angesehen, das
broom
Feuer?
handle was half burned. A door handle? Why would anyone throw such a thing in the fire? The door handle to the colonial collection and that of the fireplace are made of the same material.
Ist doch klar, dass sowas nicht brennt.
The remains of a picture frame.
irgendwas muss ich mir hier noch ansehen können.
The plants were set alight fairly recently. Some have not completely burned.
Hab ich hier irgendwo eine Skulptur oder so? Wozu das Teil gehören könnte? Nee. Versuchen wir mal die anderen Räume zu öffnen. Wir haben jetzt netterweise alle Schlüssel bekommen. Perfekt. Labortisch. Flaschenabdruck. Ist wahrscheinlich der von der Studentin.
There was a bottle here. It left behind a trace of the substance that pervaded the laboratory.
Und Goldspäne?
Good heavens. What's it doing here?
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks, so it may be a valuable auxiliary for various experiments.
But why would anyone perform such experiments in a botanical garden?
Naja, um Leute
Several drops of the
umzubringen.
substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. Several drops of the substance were spilled. The bottle is no longer here, but it is possible to detect a faint scent. We need a good nose.
Uhu! Das heißt, wir brauchen wieder Toby.
A botany book. This student's book belongs to Albert.
Sowas sollte man nicht einfach hier rumliegen lassen, vor allem nicht in der Nähe des Feuers. Okay. Ah, da fehlt auch so ein Schutzanzug.
It appears as though the protective equipment is missing from here. Gloves, waterproof aprons, everything one might need for self-protection.
Do they grow dangerous plants here?
Na, vermutlich, oder? Das
Such masks
so
are
eine
generally
Maske.
worn when dealing with toxic chemicals.
Und so eine wurde ja hinten im Garten verbrannt.
Chemicals, a sufficient quantity for some serious experiments.
Okay, das war jetzt nicht sonderlich hilfreich. Das habe ich schon untersucht.
A
Phonograph.
phonograph used for voice recording. Remarkable.
Yes, this is quite a modern laboratory.
Das ist für die also schon modern. Kann ich mir das jetzt irgendwie anhören?
It seems clear from these multiple experiments that plants to respond to their environment and have formed consciousness. Margaret White, February 1895. Report number 245.
Study report.
Okay, aber wir haben ja noch die zweite. Die können wir uns jetzt auch noch anhören. Hey, komm schon.
Martin Hamish's perception of plants. The notion of communication in the plant world has long been considered marginal, yet I remain convinced that some plants do indeed transmit chemical signals in the event of attack.
A study report by Martin Hamish.
Also auch nicht. Ach so, Gegenstand benötigt. Das heißt, ich finde wahrscheinlich irgendwo noch
This is a
eine...
table for experiments. It resembles my own.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
Das würde ich jetzt als Beleidigung ansehen. Aber ich denke... Hier habe ich alles. Perfekt, schauen wir uns das Büro doch noch schnell an. Champagner.
French wine. A remarkable vintage.
Auch wenn ich in der Weingegend wohne, ich kenne mich mit Wein überhaupt nicht aus.
Montague Dunn had good taste.
So, Schreibtisch, was haben wir denn hier? Wir haben die Times. Und ansonsten? Oh, okay.
Newspapers discussing Kew Gardens.
Neue Pflanzenart. Die Belegschaft von Kew Gardens verkündet voller Stolz die Züchtung einer neuen Gerstenart, die völlig resistent gegenüber Kälte ist. Folgerichtig wurde sie sibirische Gerste getauft. Martin Hemmisch, der stolze Züchter der neuen Getreideart, wird am kommenden Montag eine Pressekonferenz zu diesem Thema halten. Einen Brief haben wir auch noch. Liebste Margaret, nach unserem letzten Gespräch glaube ich, es wäre besser, wenn du deine Arbeit hier in Kew Gardens einstellen würdest. Wie du ziemlich offen festgestellt hast, bist du ja nicht mehr auf meine Unterstützung angewiesen. Denn du stehst offensichtlich auf eigenen Füßen, wie du gemeint hast. Nun, so gebe ich dir deine Freiheit zurück und wünsche dir viel Glück in deinem künftigen Leben. Montague Dunn oder Don oder wie auch immer. Die hatten ein Verhältnis miteinander, habe ich das Gefühl. Miss White Entlassung, Albers Ambition, Vergiftung, tödliche Pflanzen. Okay, das schon mal nicht. Hä? Ich kann hier doch überhaupt nichts... Nee. Schwachsinn, ich kann hier überhaupt gar nichts tun. Aber ich mache jetzt hier wieder einen Cut. Wir gucken uns das Büro dann das nächste Mal weiter fertig an. Da hinten steht auch noch ein Tresor, den ich wahrscheinlich aufmachen muss. Ich bedanke mich wie immer bei euch fürs Zusehen und ich hoffe, wir sehen uns dann das nächste Mal wieder. Macht's gut. Tschüssi!